guys are doing a lot of fucked up shit. Do you all train together?
Yeah.
So you squat together all the time, right?
Yeah.
All right. So the first question is, do you recognize where you're fucking up? Like, do you see where he fucks things up?
No.
And do you see where he fucks things up? I mean, at all.
Yeah,
at all.
Sometimes, yeah.
All right, because none of you fuckers are cueing anybody. All right, so you're going through all these lifts and you're not doing any coaching at all. All right, that's the first mistake, but I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt and just say you don't know what the fuck to say. All right, which is okay, because the rah-rah shit, stupid. All right, so you don't wanna get into that, but you're losing all these opportunities and all these reps where you can reinforce technique that you need to be able to change. There's a clusterfuck of things wrong, but I'm not gonna give all the things that are wrong because you're, what, 3 weeks out. So we're gonna go with the things I think that you can fix that can help you a little bit without disrupting the training cycle. Like I told you, sitting back's you may go backwards before you're gonna go forward. But with all of you, your feet are moving all over the place. And I'm only looking at the first rep. After that, I don't care, okay? Because the first rep's all that's really gonna matter in a meet. But most of you are actually taking the weight out and you're coming up on your toes. This is exaggerating, but say you're doing this. But what I'm seeing is just as subtle as this right here. All right, some of you are staying there, all right, which, people will talk about 3 points of contact on your foot, or I don't care who you're listening to or how it's explained, your whole foot has to stay on the floor. All right, so if you're trying to cue turning out and it's not working and you're still coming up forward, think something else. Think spreading the floor apart, driving the heels down. I don't give a fuck what you think, but watch each other's feet when you're squatting to be able to see. It could just be a matter of getting up under the monolift a little bit more to be, because if you're back too far, you're gonna come up on the toes, then you're gonna settle back. Some of you are correcting, but you're not correcting until you get halfway down. All right, so you get halfway down, then your back feet are flat and you'll be able to come back up. The problem becomes in a meet at 100%, you don't have that halfway down to correct. You're gonna start to go down and your mind's gonna start thinking, fuck, I'm falling forward, and then you're gonna miss it out of the hole. So that's the first thing, is figuring out what to do with your feet just to keep it so it's flat the whole entire time. The second thing is none of you are walking it out. You're all using the monolift, okay? So the most advantageous position for you to actually pull air is before you have the weight on your back. So you're tight under the bar, everything's tight, driven into the bar. You're pushing into the bar, but you're not lifting it up. You're getting everything tight. Then pull as much air as you possibly can. And then when you stand up with it, you can let a little out and then, pull that back in again. But what you're doing is you're pulling the air under, most of you, and you're getting that big air somewhere you need, somewhere you don't, but you're getting that big air, and then you're standing out, and you're blowing it all out. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like you have what you need, and then you blew it the fuck out. And now when you got 405 on your back, you're never gonna be able to get as much air back in as when you don't have 405 on your back. You see what I'm saying? So then make sure you're pulling into your belly. And that's where, everybody, I've said this before, but every coach is basically saying the same thing, they just say it a different way. You want to pull as much air into your belly as you possibly can, and then force out, against your belt. I like to try to tell people to force out against the sides of their belt. That way, instead of pushing out towards the front, sometimes they get disrupted and will bend forward. But I think if you pull enough air in and it's tight enough, you really just have to flex. You just tighten it and you're fine. If you pull enough air, you shouldn't have to push out against your belt at all, because it's going to already be pushed out. You just have to maintain it. Something I picked up from JL that you can experiment with is if you pull through your nose first and then finish with your mouth, you're actually going to be able to get more air into your diaphragm and belly than you would if you just pulled with your mouth first. I can prove it. Just if you all stand up, pull as much air in as you possibly can with your mouth. All right, now from this point, try to pull in with your nose. You shouldn't be able to do it. Actually pull as much in as you can with your mouth into your belly. Now try to breathe through your nose. All right, now relax. Now pull as much air in through your nose as you can, into your belly. Now try to breathe through your mouth. So you get just a little bit. See how much tighter that was going in the opposite direction. All right, so if you go through the nose first, it's gonna lower the diaphragm, and it's gonna, just fuck all that. It's gonna give you a little bit more air than you could get if you went all with the mouth. The cool thing with this is if you go through your nose into your belly, it's gonna tighten it all up. And then you can stand up, and then from that point, you can get that little bit through your mouth, okay? And it's not a lot, because once you have it, it's just, I mean, it's almost gonna be like you're underwater trying to breathe air, trying to get that final air through your mouth. This is gonna mean you're gonna have to take more time under the monolift before you stand up. So make sure your feet are flat, make sure everything's tight, because once you stand up, you're gonna have enough time, maybe 2 seconds, to let the weight settle before you have to squat, because you're gonna be dealing with the same breath that you took when you were under. Okay, right now you're used to taking the air, standing up, blowing it out, retaking it again, so you got 4 or 5 seconds before you even begin squatting. So if you think of time under tension and just weight bearing, it's good from a grounding standpoint, you know, which is, a lot of people have the opposite problem. You know, Brandon Smitley was one. We had to teach just to let the weight settle before he went. You're on the opposite end of the spectrum. You're taking way too much fucking time, you know? So work on that. So work on the feet being flat and solid, and then getting as much air as you possibly can before you take the weight out. Then once you take it out, try to pull that little extra. If you can't figure the nose thing out, fuck it, don't worry about it. Just go with the mouth, but get as much as you can. Don't blow it all out. If a little bit comes out, pull that little bit extra once you stand up.